Hey guys, what's up? I am here to give you guys a recap on the new episode of Nanatsu no Taizai, Kamigami no Gekirin, or you can call it the 7 Deadly Sins, Wrath of the Gods on episode 17. Well, this episode right here, I'm gonna do one part, and then there'll be another part in an organized manner. So if anything else, let's just get this started. After Meliodas left with Elizabeth, we have to it that the 7 Deadly Sins are trying to figure out what to do next because Meliodas is going to become the Demon King and it will only be troublesome. We have to it that Merlin ends up explaining something after talking to Hawk or looking into Hawk's eye and realizes that he's connected to Purgatory. And they realize that Meliodas' emotions are in Purgatory held by the Demon King. And of course, Deanne suggests that we could go in there and go after it and retrieve Meliodas' emotions and later on turn him back to who he was. However, Merlin says that's impossible because, one, the place in Purgatory is very dangerous, and two, a single minute in there could be like hundreds of years. And this actually is proven true from Merlin's own experience and memory when her father entered Purgatory and he came back as a frail old man and later on ended up dying afterwards. And we see to it that she explains of how Purgatory works, like in terms of like how it's poison, freezing, and it's very dangerous over there. No one won't be able to survive on that, and no one's guaranteed to come back. And we see to it that Bond suggests that he will go because even though he may suffer major disasters or injuries from in Purgatory, he's immortal. But Merlin says otherwise, telling Bond, "Did you not hear what I said? Even if you did find Meliodas' emotions, you won't be able to come back. And even if you did come back, it's being held by the Demon King. So even if you try to retrieve it, how's there any other way to come back?" And we see to it that the other 7 Deadly Sins agrees and says, "We gotta think of something else, man. Don't do something reckless where we had to lose another friend." And we see to it that King tries to convince Bond the otherwise as well, because what will happen to Elaine if you're gone? And we see to it that Bond says, "Please, let me do this for my best friend. If I can't save a friend, I can't protect or save my woman, huh?" And we see to it that Merlin, although she doesn't like the idea, she decides to relent because there's only like 3 days before Elizabeth's curse activates and everything could turn to hell, that kind of thing, you know? Eventually, as time continues on in the episode, we get to see another part, which I decided to get into, that Meliodas goes to Camelot Castle with the escorting of Chandler, and he ends up entering the throne room where Zeldris and Cusack is at, and Cusack and Zeldris greets him in a impolite way, saying, "Oh, I can't believe the traitor's here, not to mention seeing the freaking filthy goddess is here." Although Chandler tries to say otherwise, saying he wanted to kill that woman the moment he saw her, we see to it that Meliodas tells him that's enough out of you. And we see to it that Meliodas explains his business by saying, "I am here to become the Demon King," and Zeldris says back, "No, I'm the one that's going to be Demon King." And Estarossa, who apparently healed up from his injuries from Escanor, right in the nick of time, ends up having to wake up and enter the throne room himself and says, "Hey, if you guys are going to fight each other, let me call dibs on this." But later on, after he sees Elizabeth, which he had a dream about Elizabeth, by the way, he ends up changing his mind and wants to take Elizabeth for his own. Although the Meliodas we know, who's in the assault mode, says otherwise by saying, if you're gonna, I don't think so. You're not gonna take Elizabeth from me, and second, I'm gonna become the Demon King. And we see to it that Estarossa and Zeldris attack Meliodas at the same time, but Meliodas easily subdues him with his own magic power, and Cusack was about to jump in and help out Zeldris, only to be attacked by Meliodas' dark energy and tells him, "Stay the hell out of this. This is between me and my brothers. You hear me?" Even right now, Chandler and some little lolly demon ends up saying, "Oh wow, dude, this is something crazy amazing." And we see to it that Meliodas was actually putting a lot more pressure on Estarossa and Zeldris to have him comply, but Elizabeth tells Meliodas to stop. And we see too that Estarossa was actually happy to see Meliodas the way he is, and Zeldris says he really hates ends up being in anger and yells at Meliodas by saying, "You only want to get the Demon King's power so you can break the curses on both you and that woman. Isn't that right?" And we see to it that Meliodas says, "Yeah, that's the point. But now that I realize it, even if I took the power from you that Father lent you, it won't be enough." And we see to it that Zeldris becomes enraged and says, "I'm the one that's going to be Demon King," and he ends up attacking Meliodas in multiple directions with his swordsmanship, but unfortunately it's ineffective. And Estarossa was close to grabbing Elizabeth, but Meliodas ends up attacking Estarossa to a point where he can't seem to catch her at all. And we see to it that Meliodas understands why Zeldris wants to become the Demon King, and he's whispered something in Zeldris' ear, and Zeldris decides to comply reluctantly. Even though he doesn't like the idea, he'll still help him out. And they talk about the 10 Commandments and how they were formed and how they could be taken, and then how they could be removed. And Zeldris demonstrates a technique that allows him to remove the commandment, but only if they say so on their own behalf, or or the commandment wielder, the wielder of that commandment is dead, that kind of thing. Anyways, as the episode continues on, we have to it that Zeldris and Estarossa will later on continue their way to go search for the commandments. And as for Bon, he enters Purgatory and ends up having to journey his way to find his way to try to find his best friend's emotions. As for Meliodas and Elizabeth tries to tell Meliodas otherwise, like, "You can't become the Demon King. Do you know what will happen if you do?" And Meliodas says, "Yeah, I know what will happen. Because the Demon King's power is way too strong and too great, I can't stay in this world anymore." And he tries to convince Elizabeth that this is the only way to break the curse. Elizabeth tries to tell him otherwise, that if you can't be there, even though if you break the curse, what will happen to you? It'll be sad for me. It'll be sad and devastating for me if you just leave like that. But Meliodas tells her otherwise not to worry about that, because every time you are born, you will have memories imprinted in me, imprinted in you. So pretty much, once I break the curse, it should be over with. But Elizabeth tells him otherwise, and still upset about this, and says, "Hey, if you freaking..." tells him otherwise about this, but Meliodas seems to go back to his normal self. It looks like it, But later on, he says, every time I hug you and embrace you, it makes my heart race happily. And he ends up going back to his assault form and says, "Now I don't feel a damn thing." He even tells Elizabeth, "All I have left is our promise between us, and that's it." And we see to it that Elizabeth says, "You know what? I'm going to go with the 7 deadly sins and stop you from becoming Demon King." And Meliodas is like, "Wait a minute, stop this madness right now." And Elizabeth was about to hit him, and Meliodas is like, "Look, if you're going to hit me, do it. I don't care if that's going to make you feel any better." And we see to it that Elizabeth just slaps him in the face, and Meliodas, who is unfazed by it, but he was somewhat affected by her slap whatsoever, ends up having to escape. And Elizabeth says, "Wait for me, Meliodas. I will save you, just like how you're trying to save me." And the episode ends off there. Preview next episode. Yeah, I have a bad feeling where this one's going. It's not too obvious from the get-go, but whatever. Anyways, just gonna end it here, people. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Fazzetto. Have a good day. And I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot!